Successful share trading is 20% strategy and 80% mindset and emotions. Most people obsess over strategy and completely ignore the part that actually determines whether they will succeed or not. I am here today with KaKi Lee, and we are going to talk about her power stories. Welcome, KaKi.
Hi, Monique. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you said something fascinating. Making money is the easy part. Unlearning everything you've been taught about money, that's the hard part. Tell me what you meant by that.
Well, anyone can make money. Seriously, anyone can make money. If you have drive and you have a body, there's something you can do that will pay you. So, making money is the simple part. What's hard is the relationship you have with your money, all the stories and the beliefs that you inherited or you created during your life journey, like making money is hard, or that you don't deserve it, or that, you're greedy if you want more. So every time you receive money with all those things running in the background, your subconscious goes, oh, not safe. I'm going to self-sabotage now and get rid of all your money. So that's what I mean when I say making money is the easy part and unlearning everything is, the hard part because you need to unlearn so that you can keep growing your money.
Yes, that's so true. It's the relationship that allows it to stay and grow. Why do you think so many successful women, they have assets, careers, income, but they still don't feel financially free?
That was me. So most people, they're not building freedom. They're building expensive cages because they are chasing what looks like wealth. So they never actually stop to ask themselves what freedom actually means to them because it was never a thought. They're just so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses, keeping up, getting the fancy car, buying the fancy house, getting the luxury bags, a private jet if you want. And they just don't ask themselves what freedom is. And so they're just constantly on this hamster wheel, chasing their tails. I had a multi-million dollar portfolio, but I was not free because I was working to pay my mortgage. And it was just this constant cycle of chasing my tail, like what I was talking about. Because money was moving in and out. Like, it's not like they don't have money. I still had money to do all the fun things. We went traveling, we eat out, we do, but just never stopped to think about what freedom actually meant.
Mhm. Yeah, I want to dive into this because your dad taught you two things, how to invest in shares and how to invest in property. So tell me about those early lessons.
Yeah. So we immigrated to Australia from Hong Kong just before I turned 6, and my dad worked really hard to get us settled. And he instilled into me that if you want to get ahead in life, you need to invest. So I went, okay, I will listen to my dad because I'm a good little Chinese girl that will listen to what my parents say. And he first of all taught me to share trade. So I started share trading in my late teens, early 20s, but my dad taught me and he self-taught himself. So there really wasn't much of a strategy. It was more like, here, just do this. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I won some money, lost some money. It didn't really make that much of a financial impact in my life. And then I started going to property when I was 27. Bought my first investment property. And I love property. It was like, oh, this is so cool. I've got a house and I'm getting rent. And so in my 30s, when I decided I'm just going to go all in property because share trading didn't really make that much sense to me at that time. And we had 5 properties at one point. And it seemed really glamorous, but it wasn't because we still owed the bank money and I didn't know that I was bleeding money. So those early lessons in investing, was it showing me that that's not the way to go? I don't think it was. I think it was just showing me that I need to find a better way to do it.
Mm, so true. So you had built this multi-million dollar property portfolio and you were losing 40 to $60,000 a year. What was happening? How does this happen? Because like you said, it looks good on paper, yeah.
Yeah, we just weren't looking at our numbers. So, like I mentioned before, money was coming in, money was going out. We had money to go on holidays, eat out, do all the fun things. So we just kept doing what we were doing, and that was including accumulating properties. I was really good at actually looking at my personal finances, but when it came to the house finances, because we had a property agent and, an accountant, I was just like, that part can just go to them, but never really looking at the numbers. The thing with property is you've got property agents, you've got maintenance, council rates, water rates, insurance, and they all add up. And we just didn't pay attention until we went to this property education boot camp. And they're like, no, 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 you don't do negative gearing. And I'm like, oh, and you need to work out all your numbers. Oh, okay. So we sat down and we went, oh, wow, this is how much money out of pocket we were paying each year. And at that time, when we worked it out, that was the median Australian full-time salary. So we were out of pocket every year, the median Australian full-time salary. And we were like, oh, okay, this is not working. So that's something I always instill into people is like work out where you are, what you have, because until you know your numbers, you can't plan for the future.
Mm, such good advice. And when did you realize this isn't freedom? And what changed the game for you? What was the thing that got you on a different course at that point?
Mm. Well, I think the moment that I realized was when we did our numbers and going, oh, 40 to 60 grand is not a small number to be, bleeding out every single year. And thinking about where we were at that time, the rentals were really a bit of a source of stress because we had tenants that just up and left their car carcass, like a shell of a car, and left all their stuff without telling my property agent until she went to check on them. And then we had to replace hot water systems, we had to renovate. We were stressed out whether the good people on paper would actually trash our house because looking good on paper doesn't mean that they're they're actually good people. And I think the biggest realization for me was realizing that if we didn't accumulate all these investment properties, we could have bought our dream home. And that was like, oh, and it's like the chicken or the egg. Which one should come first? Should you get the investment properties first or should you get your dream home first? I don't know. But we could have if we hadn't accumulated all that. And we were just instead chasing our tails on the hamster wheel, just working, working, working to, fund these projects.
Mm,
So that's when I realized we had to do things a different way. Yeah.
wow. I love what you're sharing because for most people, this whole topic is intimidating, and you're pulling the curtain back because there is a learning curve. So, what do you believe that most people confuse when it comes to assets equaling freedom? And like you said,
Mm,
knowing what freedom means to you, how did you begin to start to define this for yourself?
mm. So I love assets. So assets aren't bad. It's just that assets are future freedom potential. So you might have an asset right now, but you can't live off your house if you don't sell it. It's going to sit there unless you have a positively geared property. And most of the time, most people don't start with that. And if you have shares, they can sit there looking pretty and grow or not grow, but you can't live off it unless you sell your shares. So I always say assets are future potential and cash flow is what you need now for being able to live the lifestyle that you want. So it's finding that balance of having cash flow, but also, building the future potential because yes, properties do grow and they can grow quite a lot. And shares do grow. If you look at the average is like, about 10%, 7 to 10% a year average growth since the beginning. So I think that's where people confuse it. They think, oh, I'm accumulating all these assets and now I need to eat instant noodles every night. And if you are into that, kudos to you, but I can't live a life like that. So you need to find that balance. Yeah.
So true. Eating instant noodles. I love this. Yeah, you want a little for now and a little for later.
Yes.
So let's talk about the hospital phone call. Yeah.
Mm.
I found this story really incredible. So you had just given birth to your second daughter, yes, and you're on maternity leave, baby sleeping beside you. And what were you doing from your hospital bed?
I rang my trading coach because I am a type A personality and that's what I do. I remember the first day of maternity leave, I went, I am going to do this program that I bought a year ago to learn how to trade this, covered calls, which is what I teach now. And I just knew that this is my second baby. I knew that the baby's going to sleep and I can only stare at a sleeping baby, as cute as they are, for so long. So I brought my laptop into the hospital because I was going to do my taxes as well. It was near the end of financial year. And I called my coach and he's like, where are you? You sound so different to where you usually are. I'm like, I just popped out a baby. And he's like, why are you calling me?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah. So
Mm.
for me, it was just something I knew I had to do. And it didn't matter, obviously, whether I just had a baby or not, I was going to do this.
You were going to figure this out now. And I love how type A that moment really highlights you as because you were going to do your taxes and learn how to
Yeah.
cover calls. So tell
Because
me,
why not?
yeah. So what led to this? Like, I bought this a year ago. I just had a baby. Was it truly that you knew you were going to have this downtime? Was there other things going on? What just made it feel like the perfect timing for you to do this?
I think it was that I could see the potential of it. When I bought the course, I just knew. I just knew this was something I was going to do. I didn't know how it was going to change my life at all. I just knew that it made sense. So my colleagues back in the pharmacy used to always say, KaKi likes a challenge. And that's just who I am. I always bring new ideas to the table, new projects, and I just make it work. So that's just part of who I am. But I think what made me do it is when I had my first baby, I went on this exploration path of there must be, asking the existential questions. Is this all there is to life? Am I just meant to be working? So that was me with my first baby, trying to look for something, but I didn't really know what. And then when the second one came and I had this, in my back pocket and haven't done anything with it, I went, I'm just going to do this. I don't know why or how or what it's going to do, but I just felt it was important and I just had to figure it out. So within 6 months, I was able to replace my full time chief pharmacist, which is director of pharmacy for my American friends, salary like every month. And I went, okay, well, I don't need to work anymore. So yeah, that's
Mm.
why. I guess that there wasn't really a why. It was more like I just knew I had to
You
figure it
knew.
out.
You
Yeah.
had that gut feeling your intuition was telling you. Wow. So within 6 months, you exceed your salary as a chief pharmacist. And how did that change your perspective on work, how you were living, how you were viewing, how you were going to make a living? What changed in that moment?
I think it was like, oh, I don't need to be working so hard. Like all my life, yeah, I had been working so hard. Work was my baby. Like I loved work. And this was a complete, can I swear? I guess.
Yeah.
It was a complete mind fuck. It was because you're going, I really just pressed a few buttons. I spent a bit of time researching and I made money. This does not make sense. My brain is not computing. So, yeah, it just changed how I viewed work forever. And knowing that I can do this, and I actually went to my husband, if I can sustain this for 6 months, that's when I quit. Because, I'm not just going to go, I just did it for a month and I'm going to stop and quit the safety of having a job. So, yeah, it was really going, I don't have to work if I don't want to. And that was what led me down the path of what I'm doing now.
Mm. Yeah, because you not only had been working hard, long days, I'm guessing you have lots of hours in, but you had years of education to even get that job.
Mm.
And you realize that the click of a few buttons, like you said, some research, applying yourself to this, all of a sudden, what it takes to make a living completely changes. So, what freedom did this create for you beyond the money?
There's a few things. Time, obviously, is the most precious commodity that you have. Money is infinite. There's infinite ways to receive money and make money, but time is finite. And you also don't know how much time. I could drop dead tomorrow. I don't know right now if I would. So that for me was so important. And that was why I started searching with my first daughter because I was like, well, I can't be working 9 to 5 and have the grandparents and childcare raise my child. And I knew I was going to have another one. So that was a big thing, having time back. And now for me, it's being able to build a business that I love and seeing my students make money, seeing other people make money doing what I'm doing as well. And having time to go out with friends during the weekday, go for a massage, all those things. But I think more importantly for me, what it gave me was self trust, self knowing, and confidence. Knowing that if I had to start from scratch, that I can do it. And I had to do that actually when the year I turned 40. Like there was a whole heap of things that happened and I had to start from scratch and rebuild. And I'm using the strategy that I'm teaching to, rebuild my finances. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That knowing that everything that you need, you have,
Yes.
regardless of what happens out here in the world, when you know you can figure it out, you're a completely different person.
Yeah.
So I've known you for a while, Kaki, and I know that you have this fun little pattern, right?
Yes.
You're the counterintuitive Kaki, right? Because every time you stop trying hard, every time you stop pushing, trying to make something happen, clients show up, money shows up, things start clicking into place, opportunities. When did you first notice the connection between all of this?
The mm, the first time I noticed it was actually with my first course, so an early iteration of my share trading course. I was talking about it online, like, I just needed someone to listen to me. I was posting, I was talking about it. I was offering discounts for my course. Okay. I had crickets for months. I had crickets. And then I just went, you know what? I'm just really tired. I'm just going to stop. And I spent that time hanging out with my kids, not doing a lot. And all of a sudden, within a week, I had about 5 people reach out and go, Kaki, when are you starting that course? I'm going, really? This is not making sense. And then I didn't really know that was a thing at that time because that was probably the first time it happened. And then it just happened every time after that. But it wasn't me stopping to do nothing. now that I look at, it's not me stopping doing nothing, it's me changing my energy. So
Mhm.
I'm not the creepy guy that's trying to like force myself onto you. I'm now the khaki is like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Come if you want.
Right. You lean back and then they can lean forward and hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Mm. So I know that you've had different things happen. Someone found you from a photo, others listened to interviews, and then they reached out to you later. What has this pattern and just noticing what works for you, because it really is an individual thing, that this is so personal. What has this taught you about business?
It's taught me that people will find you when they're ready. Like what they say, was it when the student is ready, the teacher appears? And it's the same with business. People can be watching you forever and not buy from you. And then there's people that see you once and go, I know I want to work with her. And for me, it's also taught me that what I put out there doesn't just work for me one time. It's there for as long as it's there on the internet, on social media, wherever, I decide to, put out content. And I love the photo someone found me from a photo story because that one was probably the least expected of all. So my mentor actually came to Perth one time to do a seminar, and I went up to him and told him my story, and he's like, "Oh, let me take a photo. Let's take a photo together." And he posted it on his Facebook. I didn't post anything. And then my student, he follows my mentor. And obviously he's like, oh, who's this person? Is she real? And started stalking me and figured out I was, teaching something similar. And he reached out and I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, I just can't stand the guy. So he signed up and learned from me and now he's share trading and, doing his thing. But it's just, you just don't know the miracles that happen, you just let it happen. And that's what I've learned.
Isn't that the truth? The miracles that happen, it's just your people are your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So, why do you believe alignment is actually a business strategy? It's not just like a nice, cherry and sprinkles on top, but it's actually a strategy.
I think for me, I've learned that many times in this, in the last 7 years of being in business, where I force myself to do something and it just doesn't work. So being in alignment is really doing things that fit your values, your personality, and your operating system. Like you said, it for me is like when I, just lean back, that's when people come. Other people, it has to be, putting out there all the time. So whatever your operating system, your values, your personality is, you need to do things in a way that fit that. Otherwise, you're creating resistance. And like I said, it's again, is that creepy boyfriend. Right? Like that resistance, you're like, ew, don't touch me, versus the, oh, this person's magnetic. I want to hang out with her or him. So for me, being in alignment and being fully me has
Mhm.
worked so much better than me trying to fit into someone else's mold.
Absolutely. And it lets go of all the forcing. Yeah.
Mm.
You can let go and you can let it unfold. How does this feel different inside of you when you compare the two different aspects that we've talked about? What's the feeling that you get inside?
When I'm forcing, I can feel myself like, oh, I need to do this. Like, I hate doing this, but I have to do this. And when I'm not, it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. I'm just doing it the way that I want to. So it feels lot more peaceful and fun.
Mm, mm. Those are good indicators. Peaceful
Yeah.
and fun. I love this. What would you say to the person who they're hearing this and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've been forcing myself to take all the advice or to post every day or to make something happen? What would you say to that person?
I'm going to use myself as an example. I've learned a lot from you, but I think for me, the posting every day and stay visible, I think that's important, but you need to do it in a way that's sustainable. So I had always had this weird belief story running that I needed to write something brand new every single day that was going to like make people think, like the long form content, and that was me. And I was in that energy of going, oh, this is so hard. I just don't want to do it. And you know, when I started working with you, it was very much like you need to like leverage what you have. I'm like, can I do that? Am I allowed to recycle content? Am I allowed to do that? That doesn't, and doing this now is I'm going, oh, actually this makes a lot more sense. I don't need to be doing long form. I can just post a photo of myself having fun or ask a question. Like the other day I asked a question and I had so many people respond. I was like, this is crazy. So it's not whether posting every day and staying visible, is the energy you have behind it. Like I mentioned before, if you are hating life and hating this, people can feel it. I've had friends actually reach out to me when I was in a pushing stage. They're like, KaKi, I can feel you trying to push yourself, force yourself onto me through the email that you just sent. I'm like, oh, okay. I think I need to pull back a bit. So,
It's so true. And I'm glad that you said this because, like, if you're in the wrong space, if you're not feeling good and you're going with the show up every day, you're showing up every day is actually detrimental because, like you said,
yeah,
people can feel it. We all can feel when somebody's like, oh man, you're just in a bad spot, Please
yeah.
go go take care of you.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and I like that you said this too because there's so many ways to utilize content and to share or to spark conversations, and it's not about forcing one way, it's about finding your
Yeah.
way. Mm. Okay, so let's talk about money and mindset. I know this is something really big for you. You teach it a lot because you can't just teach share trading. You got to teach, yeah, the mindset and the relationship. So, what are some emotional patterns that get people into bad investments? How does this show up? How do
Mm,
you see it?
yeah. There's a few that I can think of. The first one is fear, of course, especially for women, because we are so scared of doing things wrong and asking the wrong questions or looking stupid. And when you're trading, you just have to let all that shit go. And so fear is a big one. And the thing is, because on the stock market, you can't control the outcome. So you need to learn how to manage your fear so that if things don't go according to your plan, which your plan never actually is a plan, you need to know how to manage it from a place of calm.
Mm.
So that's one of the self, emotional patterns that people have. Another one is FOMO. So fear of missing out. When everyone's talking about something that you need to jump on, then you've missed the boat. There's a Chinese saying that if the person on the street and the taxi driver and the butcher and everyone's talking about it, then no, don't go there. But people do because they're scared. Oh, well, if I don't jump on, then I'm going to miss out on making a profit. So that's another one. Um, then there is the analysis paralysis because there's so many things you can look at when you go on the stock market. Everyone gets the same information. You go on a platform, you get the charts, you get the company profile, but why do some people make money and some people don't? Is that some people don't even get into a trade because they're so stuck with trying to figure out and find the best trades. You just need to go for it. You can't be overthinking. I say to my students, I use the KISS principle. So it's keep it simple, stupid. But my student said, can we not say stupid? And we changed it to sweetie. So I make it very simple. Like, just a few things and it works because there's no point looking at all these things and then getting in your own way.
Mm.
So there's a lot of that. And then the last one probably is people squeezing the most out of their trade. So they see something go up and then they're like, oh, I'm just going to like stay. And then it goes backwards. My dad does that a lot. He'll go to me, oh, I knew I should have sold at that time. I'm like, why didn't you? Oh, I thought you got more. Don't do that. So those are the emotional patterns. And really is what's behind all that is not feeling safe and not trusting yourself in your own decision making.
Mm, I can see that. Not
Yeah.
trusting yourself. Now, you believe that women actually make better traders. Tell me why.
um, so I had someone ask me if I was a chartist or fundamentalist. And I told that person I'm an intuitist. And he was like, what? And that's why women are better traders because we are naturally more intuitive. And what I find also is women, when they start a program, well, the women that come into my world, they follow the process. They, you tell them what to do and they will do it. And because they're scared. So there's
Right.
something good about that, being scared, because they're like, I don't want to do this wrong, so I'm going to follow. Whereas I notice with my male students, they might not even have started learning the process, but they're already thinking about the next shiny object or the next like way to trade. So then that, yeah, that kind of hinders them sometimes because they're already thinking ahead. So I find women are more patient and they, better at following instructions. Oh. um, yeah, because what I teach isn't sexy. It's not get rich quick, but you do need to know, like, follow the process. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. So, what are women afraid of when they say, I don't know enough to invest or I don't know where to start? Because for a lot of women, investing is intimidating. I mean, this is this is across
Yeah.
the board. What are they really afraid of?
They're scared of being wrong. They're scared of losing money, obviously. They're scared of looking silly if it doesn't work out. They're scared of what other people will say and other people's opinions because you're doing something that other normal people aren't doing. I like my weirdo, so come if you're a weirdo, don't do what everyone else is doing. And the unfortunate truth is there are people waiting for you to fail and you just need to let that go. I had that when I left pharmacy. One of my friends was on a weekend shift with a few other pharmacists and overheard them talking it's like, oh, yeah, Kaki's like gone off to do share trading. I wonder if she's lost all her money yet. So there are people that will, and they were people that I thought, I knew they didn't really like me, but not to that extent where they wish that you would fail.
Mm.
So I think it's letting go of all those, the fear of what other people will think, really, is what stops women from not doing anything to get into investing.
Mm. Wow, that is so true. There are people waiting for you to fail. And if you do fail, which you're going to, it's easy to think, well, I shouldn't have done it at all, but that just keeps us in the same spot. Mm.
Yeah,
What do
the
you wish
opportunity
more?
cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you wish more women understood before they spend another decade just working hard?
Mm. That they are more capable than they think they are. Because I don't want to say all, but most of the women that I talk to, they don't think that they can do something, whether it's share trading or whatever else it is. But if they actually believed in themselves and trusted themselves, then they can. And I'm a perfect example of that because I just kind of kept going. I had no freaking clue what I'm doing. I just figure it out. And it's not just me that can figure it out. Anyone can figure it out. So they really, most women do discount how capable they are and how smart and intelligent they are.
Mm. So, Kaki, what does true wealth feel like for you?
Mm. It's having good health because health is wealth, having good relationships, having work that you actually enjoy doing, having time, yeah, and actually feeling peace, like really peace, inner peace. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Inner peace. So huge. So I know that there's a couple of ways that people can connect with you. You know, if this conversation has sparked something, this might be the third time that they're hearing this, and it's like, okay, you know what? Kind of like that moment for you, like, I just know I need to do something. Tell me a little bit about your Lazy Wealth Diary, your weekly newsletter.
Mm. So Lazy Wealth Diary is like a page from my diary, is whatever I feel called to share at that time. It's not necessarily about share trading only. It's like I said, wealth is, not just money, it's also health and everything else. So, and then applying that and getting you to have a think about, your own life. So that's my Lazy Wealth Diary, and you get a bit of, get to know who I am and how I think and my philosophy on life and money and everything else. So, yeah, that's what Lazy Wealth Diary is.
Beautiful. And then for those who are thinking, okay, I want to learn how to do this. Tell me a little bit about your cash flow queen immersion.
Yeah. So, right now, I'm just taking private one-on-one clients at the moment. So, it's a 3-month container with me where I basically hold your hand to learn how to trade. You've got me on WhatsApp, you've got me on Zoom as well, and you learn everything that I know about the strategy which I teach is called covered calls. So it's a very held environment, and we obviously go through all the emotional mindset energy stuff as well because like I mentioned before, it's 80% mindset energy and 20% strategy.
Mhm. Yes, you are part of the relearning process around money and how we feel about it.
Yeah.
Kaki, thank you so much for what you do, for teaching others what you've learned along the way, and really for going on the journey for yourself. Because for me, what you represent is the woman who said, I'm going to go on the journey and I'm not going to stop until I find what I want and what it means to me to be wealthy inside and out, and
Yeah.
to learn beyond hard work and applied effort, but how the game of money really works.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I want to encourage people to connect with Kaki. We will have all of the links in the description. Remember, making money is the easy part. Unlearning what you've been taught about money, that's the hard part. And that's what Kaki is here to walk you through.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, let's remember what Kaki said. You are more capable than you are giving yourself credit for. See you soon.